Okay. Another thing some people were getting confused by is how to deal with wall lines as they come down and meet floors and when they meet the ground line. So I know I've drawn this a million times. Sometimes it can be tough to see with all the construction lines, but just watch me draw these things and I hope you won't be confused. We're also going to clear up what happens to the ground line in an area like this where I cut into the section and then I'm back outside again and then I cut back inside and so on. What happens in here? I know I'm going to see something in elevation and there's a ground here somewhere which is at the same ground as everywhere else. So again, this is a fairly easy section, just got one floor inside. I've drawn my matrix here. I've cut through all these apertures. I notice I didn't post-shade this, so we'll do that real fast. Okay, but I'm cutting through apertures, so I'm really just going to go up through those sills and come back down, okay, and pay special attention to where I'm in this zone right here. So I'm going to come across, I'm going to go up to my sill, I'm going to come across my sill and down to my floor. Now I'm in the building, I'm going to go across to that other wall, I'm going to go up to my other sill, I'm in that aperture now, and what do? I'm going outside again, so I'm going to go back down to that ground line, okay? I'm going to go back down to that ground line, okay? And I'm going to come across all the way to this other wall, this other aperture right here. I'm going to come up to that sill, I'm going to go across, I'm going to come down to my floor, I'm going to come over to this wall, I'm going to go up to my sill, come across, and then I'm going to go down to my ground and I'm out, okay? Notice how all of these wall lines resolve themselves where they meet that floor. There is no line in here, okay? And I'm going to clarify that with an overlay so you can see that that's just a construction line and doesn't actually exist, okay? I'm going to draw my headers and my ceiling real quick, my roof in there, both sides. We'll draw that elevation real quick and then we'll clarify this with an overlay, okay? Now I see these apertures back here. Obviously they're here, okay? We're going to talk about that in a tutorial in a minute, how to deal with window jamb lines in elevation, okay? And I also have this aperture here. I'm going to clarify all this, and all these construction lines are going to go here. Here's my roof line, and I do not see the ceiling line extend out into that. That ceiling and roof section is here and here, because that's where my section is. Outside, I see all that in elevation. Okay, let me clarify that with an overlay. So that we're really clear about what's being drawn and what's not. Okay, come in with my ground, I'm going to go up to my sill, I'm going to come across my sill down to my floor, and I'm going to go up that wall, across the sill, down to the ground. I'm outside again, across, I'm going to go up, down, over, up, across, down, and I'm out. There's my ground line. I'm going to do the headers, the ceiling, and the roof package for my two section cuts. Okay, now I'm going to come back with a lighter line and I'm going to draw those apertures in, the frames and whatnot. So there are my jambs for the window I'm cutting through just beyond my cut. Okay, you can see them here. Okay, and then I'm going to draw these two apertures in elevation. Notice I'm not extending lines up to the ceiling or down to the ground because those are floating in a flat wall. There are no corners or edges. I'm going to draw this in elevation, this aperture. It's on the exterior of the building. I'm out here, I'm looking at it, I'm not inside of it. And I'm going to draw my roof line, okay? And then that is my elevation, okay? And section. So pay attention to these moments right here and how that line just meanders around the section cut. There are no lines here. These lines do not extend down to the ground. Those kinds of things. Okay, hope that's clear.